Hey everybody, it's your pal Mike Zombie, and this week we're going to talk about Mutants from 2009, a French film that was subtitled. And again, I like foreign films, I don't mind reading. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect with this film. I saw it on Netflix. Netflix used to nicely organize on my screen, a whole zombie list for me. But now it has like a campy zombie list, and I'm going to work my way through those, for you guys, but I saw this face, and it was on the cover, and it was a man who looked kind of like an alien, but kind of like a skull with ferocious teeth. So I was kind of interested, and it was listed as a zombie film, so I thought I'd check it out. This is running from the second it hits the ground. A gentleman named Marco is driving the ambulance, and there's a female soldier sitting next to him, and she's got quite the gun. And Sonia is in the back. We initially think she's an EMT because she's working on somebody, and they're dying. So the soldier's like, have they been infected? What's going on? And they lift up the shirt, and this person has just had the shit shoot out of him. So it is very furious. Stop, and they drag the guy out, and she shoots him in the head. And then she directs everybody to clean and disinfect the ambulance, and she kind of hangs out. And from the get-go, we're kind of unsure who's who, and because the soldier, quite frankly, is just a bitch. And she's got a gun on everybody, and she's telling them, you're going to have to trust me. And, she's just being a bitch with an M16. So after disinfecting this ambulance, they drive on down the road, and they stop at a fuel station. It's abandoned. And they're looking around, and inside, this freakish person attacks Sonia. It ends up that the guy it's a young man who's autistic. And sadly, he's autistic in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. So he's hiding out at this gas station, freaking out, and he's basically alone. There's a few dead bodies there. And he's physically kind of mimicking what these crazed zombies are doing with the attack. So the soldier's first thought was to kill this man. And Sonia, who I think it was here where they revealed that she wasn't just an EMT, but an actual physician. And she said, no, don't, we can't leave him. And they also reveal at this point, I believe, that they're trying to find the NOAA military station. They're hearing this, I guess, over the radio, or it's just kind of talk that it's around here. Because they're up in the middle of beautiful snow-capped mountains. They're right in the middle of it. Beautiful landscape. And the soldier's like, no, we're not taking him. They're just going to kill him. So Marco has a gun, and the soldier just straight up attacks and shoots the autistic. I'm going to call him a boy. He was pretty young. I mean, not a child, but, maybe his early 20s. Shoots him and then goes to draw weapons on the other two, and Marco and the soldier have a bit of a shootout. Marco gets shot and kind of falls over and drops the gun. Sonia grabs the pistol and scores, I'm going to say, a real nice shot into the side of the neck of this soldier. I thought it was filmed really nicely. And in the end, suddenly Sonia is now not only just she's a very small woman. She's not frail, but she's just, very thin woman, is now alone. She now no longer has a soldier with military experience and, of course, the skill to use that weapon well. And Marco, who is now revealed her fiance, he's been shot, and he's in real bad shape. Suddenly alone and hearing screeching out in the woods, she drags Marco back into the ambulance, and off they go. And she's yelling back, stay with me, stay with me. And it seems as if he's dying. She comes upon a giant building in the middle of the woods. At first, I thought it looked like a prison. It's got one hell of a tower, which kind of reminds me of the Morlock towers from the Time Machine. But it's like this big monolith, and it's absolutely abandoned. So first I thought it was a prison. Then I thought it was a hospital. You see a lot of porches and like bedroom windows. So apparently, I'm going to say it's a hotel, but maybe like a resort hotel. But it's apparently long been abandoned. It's out of season, I guess. She races into it, and of course there's no power. She does with a flashlight bump into a few corpses. One guy blew his head off, and it seems to be absolutely left alone other than that. She goes down to the basement, fires up the power, and suddenly it's lit up, and it does appear. It still looks like, it's that lighting you see in movies in these old hospitals, and that's kind of how it looks, but it's not a hospital. So since she is now a surgeon, as they revealed previously, she extracts the bullet from Marco's stomach, it appears, and she's just trying to keep him around. All she has are the tools that were in the ambulance and whatever else she can find to scrounge up, but I don't think anything was sterile, She wraps Marco up, and she's sitting there not knowing what to do. She's alone. They have, I guess they found a little tiny bit, she found a little tiny bit of food in the freezer at this place, so she's trying to eat. She's sleeping, and I guess the next day or 2 days, they don't really specify, Marco wakes up, and she comes to tend to him, and she peels back his bandages, and the bullet hole is completely healed. He's like, well, hey, that's great. And you can see in her face, she realizes, no, Marco, no, my love, this is not great because you're infected. This is the first part of the movie, and this was kind of the endearing part of the movie because Sonia very much loves Marco. She's dedicated to him. She now uses all her, I feel like Vito Corleone, I want you to use all your strength and all your skill. Look how they massacred my boy. No. She uses all her training and her talent and prowess and everything to try to keep him alive. She tries to keep him healthy. She tries to keep him together. She does everything she can to stop him from being a zombie. That's like one of the stories in this movie. We see him over the course of several days gradually slip further and further away. He goes through bouts of being with us and, cognizant, thought, power. He's a normal guy, kind of just sick. And then he has these moments of fury where he's chasing. Because he's walking around. His body is deteriorating. His hair's coming out. His skin tone is starting to gray. And what freaked me out, he's vomiting blood a lot, but you've had, and I'm going to say you've had because we all have this nightmare. You ever have that dream where your teeth are falling out and for no fucking reason, you're like, oh my God, ow, and you pull your whole tooth out. And you're like, oh my God, his teeth are coming out for real, and you can see his gums are eroding. And he's sitting there, he's hunched over, he's in physical pain, and he's crying because he pulls a few of his teeth out. And that seemed to be when he realized that it was over. Because he just, I'm assuming he's in pain, but he just starts to bawl, Because we've all had that nightmare and that feeling of, oh my God, I had a dream where I pulled my teeth out last night. And he's really doing this. And she's trying to comfort him, trying to love him and tell him it's going to be okay. And because she's been bit too. She was bit in the back a few weeks previous. And she's not having any issues. She, of course, is immune. So she's type O, which is very, we think very good for Marco. Because she tries to give him some blood. She props him up. She takes a scalpel and cuts him between his toes so some blood leaks out. She takes out a bunch of her blood and puts it in him, and he reacts very mysteriously. He goes through seconds of seizure, and then he's relaxed, and then seizuring a little bit, then he's relaxed. In this respect, it was really good. Visually, this is really nice. Marco, whoever played Marco, did a good job of selling his physical ailment. Really did. And she's just trying to somehow get this cure into this guy. But we realize long before she does that it's just too late. Her blood does seem to make him physically a little bit better, which sadly means that when he goes apeshit, he just chases her faster and has more endurance to ram doors that she's locked and punched. And in this sense, this movie kind of took on The Shining. It's a couple of people in a very large building. And that's the beauty of this. This building is massive, but there's nowhere to run inside of it because, one, you can't leave because there's zombies all over the place. In the mist, we don't really see them, but we hear them. And he can chase you to every single room. So what do? Do you run around until you collapse from exhaustion, or do you try to keep him contained? And that's eventually what she does. It breaks her heart, but she locks him up and chains him up into kind of like a pen. I don't know what it was, but she locks him up. And because he keeps trying to attack her. And then when he comes to, he cries and apologizes because he doesn't want to do these things, but he makes it very clear he's no longer in control of himself. Now, we have some movies that I really like so far. We have the snow and the isolation of 30 Days of Night. We also have the weird kind of vampiric zombie thing going on. He's not a full zombie, but he's not a vampire. He's kind of becoming something in between the two. We have the speed of 28 Days Later and the fury, because he's furious. We have the fury of 28 Days Later, and now we bring in some traditional zombie movie elements. Other people show up, and of course, we can't be nice. This is when the gang of bikers show up in Dawn of the Dead. A handful of people show up, well-armed, and take over. They kind of use her for her medical skill, but it's done behind the threat, you know. I'll just fucking kill you. You can either help my people become, they've been hurt, you can patch them up, or I'll just blow your fucking head off. And we kind of get the feeling the guy's going to do it anyway. So she finds a way to betray him. One of the crazy guys from their unit takes her to get some fuel, because if she can get some fuel for that ambulance, she can grab Marco and they can go. She can chain him up and they can go. Of course, everything goes wrong. Zombies come all around, fuck everybody up. And that was a fun part of this movie, because as the relationship between her and these new occupiers absolutely sour and things go south and they're planning to kill her, Marco fully changes over. You know, the crescendo, it kind of all happens at once. And he breaks free from the chains that are holding him, and he joins the assault. Now, like I said, the zombies come in, fuck everybody up. She's kind of running. She does get cornered by Marco. And this is where an element from Alien 3 comes in, where he initially doesn't attack her. He runs up to attack her, but he pauses. Now, at first we think it might be because he recognizes her, but he doesn't rip her to shreds. He approaches her and he starts to smell and he senses something's up, and he crouches a little bit and he's staring into her stomach. She's pregnant. Not showing, but they did mention early on, or I mean, when the attacker showed up, she says, "Oh, by the way, like as a plea for don't kill me, I'm pregnant." And Marco kind of bites her on the stomach a little bit, and now this is a new bite. Remember, she has blood from her. He in his veins is a bit of Sonia's blood mixed with his own, and he bites her on the stomach. The military people finally show up, shoot the shit out of everything with a helicopter, pick her up, and they imply at the end that she's got a zombie baby, because we hear a bunch of crazy blah, 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 coming from her stomach, and they da-da-da-da, scary music. So I think they left room for a part 2. And that was very, very Alien 3, because like they didn't want to kill Ripley because she was carrying, I guess, a queen in her belly or whatever the deal was, and she, of course, dove into the molten metal and took them both. I initially really liked this movie, again, because I did really like 30 Days of Night and 28 Days Later. But it's been a few days since I saw it, and it not as much stuck with me as I thought. I screwed up quite a bit early in this review that you're not going to know because I'm going to edit it out. And I realized I got a bunch of facts backwards. And looking back, this was a pretty good zombie movie. Pretty good. I'd certainly say watch it. It's available on Netflix. You know, I heard this was a first-time director, and if that's the case, bravo. Did a fine job. I read that somewhere. I don't know. And me, you know, I don't look shit up. So that sounds good to me. But I would say check this movie out. It was pretty good. It's a good hour and 15, 20 minutes, and it's kind of neat to see a French take on something we and the Italians do pretty well, zombie films. It is worth the watch. Now, the Halloween giveaway is still in effect, folks. If you are new to our Facebook page, here's how you enter. You go to our Facebook page, A Little Dead Podcast, and click on like. And then in the middle of that page it's the official contest thread. A handful of people have already signed up. Once you've clicked like on our page, all you need to do is go to that thread and post. You can say hello, whatever you want to say, but that shows that you are interested in entering the contest. A bunch of people have already clicked like our webpage in the past. That doesn't mean you're entered. You still have to go back, even if you clicked like a month ago. Please go to that thread. Just say hello in there so we know that you are interested in getting some of these really sweet items for our Halloween giveaway. There's plenty of time, folks. We got a few weeks to go. No reason to wait until the last minute. Anyways, you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.